Good morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are. Guys, I spent the past couple of weeks reading through comments that were posted under my videos where I was sharing about my life and what has been happening in the past couple of years. I gained an extreme amount of weight and broke because I ended up isolating as a result of that. And many people started sharing about their lives, their experiences. As I was reading the comments and, learning more about other people's journeys and stories, I realized a couple of things. And the first thing I realized is that we tend to individualize the human experience quite a lot as people. And by that, I mean, it seems like everyone thinks that life is happening the way it's happening to them and to them alone. And I was one of those people before I started posting all this stuff, right? I thought, man, life is just so unfair to me. Everything that is happening, my peers are just succeeding in life. Things are going well for them and look at me. But reading the comments made me realize that, wow, guys, our journeys are the same. I know that we go through our own individual experiences in life that are vastly different from each other. However, what I realized is that the experiences may be different, the individual experiences, but the overall human experience that we go through. I'm beginning to realize that the concept of living or life is a very, very highly structured and thematic concept. It seems like every single one of us, no matter which part of the world you're in, no matter which part of the text bracket you're in or your gender, it seems like there are a series of events that happen in life that every single human being is bound to go through. The events may not happen in the same sequence. They may not manifest themselves in a similar physical manner, but the overall impact they have on us, the scars they leave on us, are the same. I began to realize that each and every single one of us has experienced trauma at some point in our lives, even if we'd care to not admit it, even if maybe there are people who are just genuinely very, very positive human beings who choose not to see life in that way, to say, this was traumatic to me, right? They have a positive outlook on life. But what I've realized is we've all gone through a certain level of trauma in our life. The comments were people saying, we understand where you are, how you got there, and how you feel. And then they would further elaborate on what makes them relate to my experience. And the stories were always different. Some people, shockingly, their stories were literally exactly identical to mine, down to the last detail. My sister passed away. My leg got broken. I lost my job, or I quit my job. Literally, there are people who literally, when they mention their events, it was like I'm listening to someone describing my story to me. And for some people, very different events, but the outcomes the same. I had people talk about how they've dealt with loss and grief, and they dealt with illnesses. People who went through the experience of going through cancer. Thank God, remission. I had people who mentioned being assaulted, many different types. People who mentioned being in marriages with narcissists or abusive partners, whether it's a man or a woman. People who mentioned, losing a home and being homeless. It was just so many different things. But ultimately, what was being communicated is, I can relate. And that really opened my eyes to the realization that we internalize life way too much. And because we internalize life so much, I think sometimes that act of internalization is the reason why we end up being more depressed. When you're going through life and you're internalizing it and thinking that it's just you in that situation, going through that, feeling that, you feel worse. But when you begin to realize that, listen, everyone is in the same boat. Every human being, every color, like in my comments, it was every type of human being. People from all over the world, people of different colors, everybody is going through something. Or even if they have made it through, they went through something. So they can all relate, guys. We are so tied in our journeys more than we realize. Long story short, guys, we are living the same lives. That's what I realized. We are living the same lives, just packaged differently. You could be poor, you could be rich. Both of you have went through trauma. Both of you have went through an episode in your lives where things were really tough and you were just wondering, how on earth are you going to make it through the next day? And similarly, both of you have had moments in your lives where you were the happiest you've ever been, however way that manifests itself for you. And so that actually helped me to stop feeling sorry for myself, because I felt sorry for myself a lot. I had this victim mentality. And there's a difference between having empathy for yourself and showing yourself grace and just feeling like you're a victim all through life. Because you start using it as an excuse to not show up in life. And I've done it, right? Oh, because this is happening to me, that's happening to me, but things are happening to everybody. So that's one of the things that I realized, right? And it really kind of opened my eye up so much, because now when I look at a person, I don't judge them or classify them by where I think they are. I look at them as one in the same as me, working through this journey of life and dealing with it the best way they know how. And I'm in a space where I feel like I understand the next person better, because I'm not looking at them in the lens of their themselves and their lives and what I perceive, but rather I'm looking at them in the sense of, this is someone who has experienced life just like I have. And if I feel like I'm a person that needs empathy, then surely this person deserves empathy too. And I think it teaches you to be more kinder to people. Even if you see someone who's rich and arrogant, trust me, it does not mean anything. It does not mean they've not experienced life the way you do, or the way that you have. And one funny thing, right? When I'm sitting here, I like to greet people randomly, because this is a main road. Like if I see a person passing, I'll just say hello. You know what I mean? The crazy thing that I've noticed is some people just don't respond back, but it's very rare. People are really nice here. Humility is really a thing here. Maybe they don't hear you, or they're in a rush or whatever, or they don't see where you are. Some of them just wave and pass. Guys, the homeless people are the nicest. Like if a homeless person passes here, and a lot of them do, and they like to pass with boxes and plastics because they recycle just to try and make something, right? They are the nicest people ever. They seem happier than other people, I swear. Like they seem happy. They really seem happy. Which then moves me into the next point of what I realized. And this one I realized it through both my experience with life as well as other people's experiences. So, and this is gonna sound very, very cliche. Very cliche. Money doesn't buy happiness, guys. Money doesn't buy happiness. Money buys you contentment. You are able to be more content in life and with your life when you have money, but it does not mean you are happy or fulfilled, if that makes sense. And I'm saying this as someone who, I've never been rich or wealthy, not by a mile, right? But 4-5 years ago, I had a stable job that paid really well. I had a business that was successful, doing really well. I had my own property and I had anything I wanted. Beautiful apartment, savings. I was, every now and then I'd book a flight, just travel. And from the outside looking in, it looked nice. I was able to support my family financially and be there for them. But the other day I was going through my laptop because my laptop has space issues. So when I'm editing videos, it overheats and all of that. So I decided, let me just purge my laptop. Let me go through everything and just clean it up, right? And then I decided to go through voice memos. Something that it's like voice memos is something we hardly go through, even when we're thinking of cleaning out space. So I went through voice memos. I was like, I'm sure I have a ton of recordings over the past years that I just never deleted. Sure enough, there was recordings. I was deleting. However, for recordings that were like more than 10 minutes, I would just listen in just to hear what was I saying 4 years ago for 10 minutes. So I would just listen in, and if it's garbage, I'd just delete it and move along. I came across a recording, right? And this was exactly 4 years ago. It was in 2021 or 2022, actually. It was more than 30 minutes. I listened to it. I listened to the whole thing. Maybe one day I'll just post it for people to listen to it, especially those who are going through something. Maybe they can identify themselves in that moment. So I listened to it, and it was me at my apartment in 2022, 2 years after my sister had passed. Guys, if it's loud, I'm sorry. This is a main road, so there's like all sorts of things here. And it feels like it's starting to get worse. Like I'm seeing trucks and a bunch of other things. So I listened to it and I started crying, guys, because it was me right in the thick of things, right in the core of in the belly of the beast that I was dealing with in my life. I was in a deep and a very, very dark place at that point. And in that audio, I was talking about how something's just not right with me. I was crying. And I was saying that I feel like I'm being buried. I just don't feel alive. Ever since my sister passed away, it's like something in me died with her. And I was talking about how I have all these things. I'm lying in my bed in a stunning bedroom, but I just can't help but to feel horrible, miserable, sad. Guys, I was crying in that audio. I didn't even realize I had recorded it, or maybe I just did and then I forgot. And it was so sad. It was so sad that I cried for myself, because I know I've gone through tough times, but I did not realize how bad it was. And for me to see myself on the other side, I've not yet fully healed from life, but I'm trying, I'm coping. Then I was not. I wished I could go back to that me and tell them, don't worry. You're gonna be okay. You're not gonna be great. At least not yet. But you're gonna be okay. You're gonna make it through. You're gonna find a way to live with it, to cope. Unfortunately, it's gonna take years. It was 2022. Which meant I still had 3 more years of being in that space. That's a lot. If I told that version of myself, 3 more years of this and then you'll be fine, I don't even know, guys, if that version of myself would have said, okay, fine. I think they would have opted to just exit. You know what I mean? So that made me realize that, wow. Because here's a funny thing. Right now, guys, I don't have stuff. I don't have anything in my life right now. I don't have a job. I quit my job. And I don't know, I guess it's midlife crisis or also everything that's been happening. I don't have a job. I have 2 businesses that are struggling. Some months are great. Some months are normal. Some months are terrible. And last year was my first time ever going through an extremely tough season in business. Like, last year was the worst it has ever been. I spent the first 6 months of the year last year, no, actually, from April till September, October, without getting a single client. Nothing. It was so hard, guys. I started fasting and praying. I started realizing, listen, the only person who can get me out of this mess is God. I started working on my faith. I was like, God, please make a plan for me. I don't even know what to do. It was tough. And then after that, I only got like probably 4 clients, thank God. And then the last time I ever got business or a client was in November last year, 2025. I spent my Christmas with nothing, no money. New Year's Eve, nothing, no money. Even now, still no clients, nothing, not a single dime. If you look at my bank account, you would offer me a donation, okay? And when I'm going through this now phase, and even last year when things were tough, I used to wish I was the old me. I used to wish I could go back to then, to 2022 me, 2021 me, who had something of her own. I really used to think, look at what I've become. Look at how life is, right? But listening to that audio made me realize, nope, I am better off where I am right now. Guys, I sleep well at night. I sleep well at night, even though I'm practically homeless because, like I said, I have an apartment that I bought those years on mortgage. Unfortunately, since the past 3 years, life has been, since I pretty much quit my job, trying to pursue business, and business was doing well, by the way. That's why I quit. I didn't know that suddenly I'll wake up one day and it's dying or it's not doing well. I decided I just could not afford the property anymore, and I was left with 2 decisions. It's either I let the bank come and take it because I cannot pay mortgage, and I spent a lot of money trying to fix it and renovate it, or I find myself a tenant who will stay there and pay rent, and I use that to pay mortgage and housing insurance and all of that. And so that's that. And I obviously I'm not even making a dime. I cannot go back, right? Unless situations change, then I'll go back. So for the past 3 years, I've been living with people, boyfriend, you know what I mean? Right now I'm living with my boyfriend, and Obviously, if he wakes up tomorrow and he's tired of me, he can say, hey, pack your stuff and go. And well, where do I go? I don't know. Nowhere, right? But even with all that, I sleep well at night. I'm happier as a person. I'm not fulfilled. I know I have I need to get my shit together. I need to work hard and get myself back on track. But that person that I heard on that audio, guys, she was not doing good. With all of that she had, the job, the savings, the money coming in from the business, the apartment, this and that, she was not doing good. She was really, really not happy. And she was on the brink of giving up with everything she had. And now with everything that I don't have, I have the most highest willingness to live. I want to live. I want to fight. I want to make it through because I feel like I owe it to myself. And as long as I go to bed, wake up, I've ate something, I praise God for it. I thank God for every single day because it's precious. And that's what made me realize that really truly money does not buy you happiness. And even in the comments when I was reading about people, like people will talk about how they've lost so much, this and that, you know what I mean, and how they're just not in a good space. You can have a person who is super rich, but they just going through a tough time. And the tough times, I think our issue as human beings is we associate tough times with money. We associate with difficult times in our lives with money. And I feel like money is not even anywhere near what a truly, truly difficult time is. Health is a difficult time. Grief is a difficult time. Abuse is a difficult time. Mental health issues are a difficult time. There's so many things that constitute a person going through a difficult time. And I feel like we tend to think not having money is one of them. Not having money is a challenge in life, but it doesn't make you wake up and want to end your life. And if it does, trust me, it's not the money. There is a deep rooted issue behind it, right? So that's what I'm realizing, that I mean, life is so precious, guys. And yes, we need to strive for money. Yes, we need to be hard. We need to work hard and to make it. But that once you get there, it does not mean all your problems will be solved. If emotionally and mentally something is not okay, and you not take the steps to try to heal, to fight about it, to pray about it, whatever you need to do, and you just think the only way for me to solve this issue is to just chase my dreams, and oh my gosh, the sun is now coming out, is to just chase my dreams and make money, then I'll be fine. You are in for a surprise. Once you make it, you will realize that it does not make up, it does not cover the scar, it does not heal the wounds. You will still not be able to sleep at night with that $1 million in your bank account or however much. So that's the second thing I realized, that man, happiness is a deep rooted thing that has nothing to do with how much we have or what we have in life. Happiness has a lot to do with like up here and up here. Hello. Don't worry, I'm broke, so I'm just trying to make money by talking on the internet. So that's the second thing that I realized, right? And then the third and last thing that I'll touch on that I realized is this. Our bodies are the first things that respond when something in our life is not okay. And most of the time we do not assess our bodies we don't use our bodies as an indicator of what's happening. You know what I mean? Because especially for women, or let me not say especially for women, it's just that it was mostly women who, I'm gonna try to move. Oh, that is much better. That is much, much better. Let me get my coffee. Meaning that they just became bulimic, or they stopped eating and their body just started, dropping weight. And there was one comment the person left, and she said she started losing weight and people started complimenting her. Like, oh goodness, what are you doing? You're losing weight, you look great. But she was hurting. She was going through something. She was not okay. She could not eat. And even when she ate, she would go to the bathroom and just, throw it all out. But because our society is so superficial, all we care about is how a person looks from the outside. If you have a loved one and they start dropping weight like rapidly, and you don't see them going to the gym and all of that stuff, we don't think to say, are you okay? I see you dropping weight. You know what I mean? You look great, but are you okay? You know what I mean? We don't think to say that. So when she said people were complimenting me for the weight loss, but truly it was because I was not okay, that's when I realized, man, this is deeper than we think, right? And for some people, it's weight gain. And with weight gain, people shame you for, oh, you're gaining weight, blah, 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 instead of asking, are you okay? I truly don't think human beings just gain weight because they're just greedy. I do not. I used to think that way because I was a slim person, right? But I'm beginning to realize that every person who gains weight or loses weight rapidly without intentionally going to gym and, being on a diet, there is something that causes that. Yes, you respond by eating, excuse me, you respond by eating and by not eating, but the act of eating and not eating is just an after effect. It's just your body's way of coping with something. There is always a much deeply rooted issue. And there's a show on TLC. It's called My 500 Pounds Life, or 600 pounds, depending on the person's size. And I used to be very judgmental. I used to be one of those people that say, why would you have to eat? Why would you eat so much as a person? This is just greed and not knowing how to control your portions and this and that. You know what I mean? But lately I've been watching them again with a different mindset, with more empathy, with more understanding. I'm not condoning it, right? But I've begun to understand that there is something that has happened. If you dig deep into this person's childhood, upbringing, there is something that they're dealing with, and food became their comfort, and it was my comfort too. But unfortunately, people are not built the same. Some people are strong enough to wake up one day and say, I'm taking charge over it. Not anymore. But for some people, they just wake up and it's too late. It's too late, right? So that's another thing that I've realized, that our bodies really, truly are the best ways for us to know how we're doing as people. If you shed weight and unplanned, or you gained weight just out of the blue, really something is happening. And I think we owe each other much more grace, in the sense that, like, when you see someone and they physically changing, it's okay to ask if they're okay. And it doesn't mean you're being demeaning, right? And unless you've been seeing them go to gym and all of that. But if you have a friend and, like, within a space of 2 months they've gained like 20 pounds, don't judge them, but actually sit them down and be like, I just honestly want to know if you're okay, or they're losing weight. Are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help you? Do you understand? So yeah, I will stop here.